this is a message from your guides reading for the child. And this is one of your half-hour readings, and you wanted to focus on past lives, or in particular, one specific past life for this reading. So technically, this is a past life reading as well. And I have my Isis statue here with her broken head. Just everyone ignore that. I still have to glue her back together, and I doubt that that is ever going to end up happening very soon. Anyway, so I'm going to surround us in some protective space with my broken Isis. Here we go. Okay, I've already got a guide coming in. Really calm energy, really peaceful energy. And I've got a second guide over there by you. Okay, that guide is feeling more familiar. I think I have bumped into that guide before. Okay, this one I'm not really sure about. Okay, so I have also here my smoky quartz crystal, which is really good for clearing your space, protecting your energies, and also one thing that keeps coming in as well is breaking habits, and even old belief systems, because it's really good at cleaning the junk out of your aura. So it would be good at that as well, although I wouldn't have thought of that. And then I have lepidolite as well, which has to do with your subconscious mind, dream states, psychic abilities, especially at night, and again, having to do with your subconscious, reaching altered states, healing, and even communicating with your guides as well. You definitely have some new guides coming in, which makes sense. I'm going to end up bumping into new guides when we're doing so many different readings. Okay, so this is really random. I'm seeing a dog. I'm getting this energy of a dog, and they're sending me this feeling of an animal companion, and that is something that's very good for you, that would be very good for you. And also considering that you're empathic and this feels like someone who understands you and they're always there and they're loyal and they're next to you and they don't really care what you're doing. They're just accepting you and loving you unconditionally the way that you are. That's what animals do. I don't know if you have any kind of allergy or anything, if you would be aware of that If you do, maybe it's even to a slight degree, but that's also an energy that's coming up with this at the same time. That if you were to have an animal around, you might want to um, just really vacuum the hair and everything, um, and also make sure that it's not sleeping right next to you. It feels like, so I don't know if you're aware of that, but that's an energy that's coming in. Definitely have some intense energies coming up from your guides. Again, some of these are definitely guides that I have not met before. So one thing coming in, excuse me, one thing coming in is again this idea of breaking habits and thinking about what habits you need to break. To just feel better and be able to move forward more quickly, more efficiently, and to just feel better in general. And to think about what those may be. And again, this smoky quartz is coming in as really beneficial for that. And then also just quartz in general, just regular white quartz. And they're just saying that this is to make you feel freer. They're saying that all these assignments are to help you to feel better, help you feel freer, help you feel like you can move forward at a quicker pace, at an easier pace. And they're not to judge you or it's not a judgment or anything for you to feel negative about. It's actually something to feel very positive about because it means that they see you as someone who can handle what they're saying, you can handle looking within, and you can grow from what they're saying and you want to grow. And so, showing me a bunch of hands clapping. So that's something that they definitely applaud you for. And they encourage you to do more of and to keep going with what you've been doing and that you're doing a good job. But that's what that is for. And they are going to keep giving you some assignments to help you get your aura clearer and help make your mind more at peace, and several different things they're saying. So to help you in various ways that they are aware of, that they know of, that they want to help you with. So habits, that's the assignment. Okay, so I get a feeling of Asia. And so this would be going into the past life, or maybe one of the past lives, depending on what they want to do here. There's a feeling coming in that you are praying to someone. You're praying to some kind of Asian deity, and this is a female deity. You're asking for help, and you don't feel like this person is answering you. You don't feel a connection. It would actually be better if you were praying to someone else that you resonated with more, but because of your culture and who you pray to, who the people around you pray to, who your society prays to, and the religion that you are practicing, because of that, there's only so many deities to choose from, and none of them you really resonate with. And it feels like this is just one of the most popular ones, or one of the most prominent ones. Also, one of the most considered powerful ones. And so you are praying to this entity and you're not really getting an answer or a response. Okay, and there's a feeling coming in like you want to be pregnant. That's what this energy is feeling like. You want to be pregnant. And this is not happening for you. It feels like you are married and your husband is not pleased with you. It feels like your husband is this person that you are asking about. So they are very much not pleased with you. It feels like they are looking down on you, but it feels like they do this like back and forth thing where they almost switch. Like first they're being good to you, but in a manipulative way, and trying to almost kind of sugarcoat things, and they want you to just kind of go along with them because you're sort of getting sadder and sadder and feeling more and more imprisoned. And at the same time, you feel like you can't really do anything because of the culture that you are in. But you're very depressed and you want this to happen. But it feels like there's actually some kind of health problem that you have that is disabling you from being able to get pregnant. It feels like it doesn't even feel like you would be able to produce a healthy baby if you did get pregnant, so it's probably better that you didn't get pregnant. But it feels like you just weren't able to. And then it feels like even if the baby were born, that you probably wouldn't be able to produce very much milk, which you would have needed to have been able to do back then at that time. Although obviously you could have gotten someone else, like what they would have called a wet nurse, obviously. But it doesn't feel like you had like a lot of money or something where you could have paid someone to nurse your baby. It doesn't really feel that way. and they're showing me this rainbow in the sky. It feels like you're constantly looking for this rainbow. And then in replacement, they show me this deity in the sky that you're praying to, and this feels like a mother deity. It did from the beginning. There was this kind of mother kind of feeling, but at the same time, there is still kind of almost like a kind of aggressive energy with this deity at the same time, where they could almost be vengeful, or they can show their very good side. You don't really resonate with that. You don't really resonate with this deity. They're kind of showing you, or this deity, they have these two opposite sides, kind of in the same way that your husband is constantly showing you these two opposite sides. I feel like you resonate with animals more. They're showing me a snake. And there's a feeling like you would have been better off calling on like power animals, even, because all it needed to be was something that you resonated with, but at the same time, it needed to be something that felt equal to you, not something that felt disempowering, like it is some overlord like above you and judging you and making you feel lower than they are. And like they have to decide for you. Maybe they will give it to you, maybe they won't. But it was better off that you didn't get pregnant with this person. There's also a feeling that you were shunned, like you did something, I'm not sure what, and it feels like you were shunned just by your village. It feels like this is a bit later on. Okay, and what your guides are saying is that you tried to poison yourself and it didn't work, or you tried to kill yourself in some way. It feels like some form of poisoning or something. Um, and you tried to do this, and I don't know if you didn't mix it right or you didn't really know what you were doing, but it didn't work. And it didn't even really injure you or harm you, so you couldn't have really been doing this right or mixing the ingredients right. And part of it, it feels like, is because subconsciously, part of you, even consciously to a degree, part of you really just doesn't want to do this. And so you end up living, but everybody knows about it because it feels like your husband wouldn't have said anything, but it feels like somebody else found you. Um, Somebody female, it feels like some woman found you in the village, and she just sort of ended up saying this to a lot of people, and this kind of spread around because it feels like it's a small village and it feels like you are shunned. And this is all because you can't get pregnant. This is all because you can't do what your husband wants. This is not even really for you. Sure, you would have wanted to get pregnant on your own if you had been with the right person, but in this situation, under this household, um, with this person who's sort of a tyrant in a way, um, but at the same time, in some ways, sometimes they make it obvious, and then sometimes there's this manipulative thing that they have. So there's this back and forth. It feels like there were certain jobs that you could get as a woman, and it would have been better if you had done one of those things. And by jobs, this really doesn't feel like you're working at a place. This is more like you're going door to door. You're assisting people in the village with different things. There were some things that women could do, and they could make some like modest money for it. Enough to maybe support themselves if they needed to. And it feels like if they were very old and their husband had passed away, it feels like other people in the village would have supported them, but it doesn't feel like that is going to happen for you, and you don't have any children to support you. Before you did this, um, before you tried to take your life, that would have happened. You still would have gotten support from some of the villagers. You would have been fine. But now you're really feeling the cold shoulder. They're all kind of shunning you. And it's, I don't know, it's like they give you nasty looks and they sort of talk about you, and it's just an energy that you can feel coming towards you, or they just don't talk to you. And it feels like this goes on for years and you just get kind of used to it, but there's this feeling like your husband had better outlive you. Because if he doesn't, there's going to be a problem. You're not going to be supported like other women would be, it feels like. And you don't have any children who would be able to do that, obviously, fulfill that role. It feels like you do have one good friend, and she's female, but she would not be able to support you. She supports you emotionally, but that's about it. And around other people, she doesn't really speak to you, for the reason that that would just make her look bad and that would go badly for her. And you understand that, and you're not like judging her for that or anything. It feels like you would even do the same thing in that circumstance. But when she's away from people, she's not that way. She's friends with you and she is actually good to you. Um, but that's just sort of a face that she has to put on in public when she's around other people who are shunning you. So this is really not a fun lifetime, I would say. Okay, so it feels like this person, the husband, um, does outlive you. And it actually feels like this deity that you were praying to, it feels like you have attracted protection, not just from that one, but from other deities as well. It's just that when you call on them, you don't feel a response because you really don't resonate with them. But it does feel like they were actually listening to you and they were actually protecting and guarding you. This is even part of the reason why your husband outlived you. Um, Obviously, you could have lived longer than him, but it feels like you ended up with an ailment. It almost feels like they gave you the ailment. Um, and it feels like you wanted the ailment and you were younger than this person, so you would easily have outlived this person. It feels like you were even a good deal younger than the person. by at least like 10 years or so, it feels like. Okay, so one way to actually clear this is actually finding energies that you resonate with, which you're definitely already doing. Calling on your own guides, calling on angels, um, and just whatever you resonate with. Definitely animals. That's something coming up, and that was coming up for that lifetime as well. Um, this feeling of being able to connect with an animal energetically, not only physically, like they were speaking about earlier, but also connecting to animals energetically. And I am seeing an animal near you. This, so this is some kind of totem with you, maybe a power animal, I'm not sure. But it's at least a totem with you, but it feels like a little bit more permanent, not just a totem to just sort of send you a message. So this might be a power animal, but I'm not really sure because at the same time, it doesn't feel as significant as a power animal normally does, but this is a unicorn. This is a white unicorn. And this unicorn is very magical. They feel male, but they feel very innocent, very childlike. So it almost feels like a baby unicorn in some ways, but it's full grown. And it's sort of spinning and spinning around you. And it's just making this kind of energetic swirl where I can see the horse head, but then the rest of the body, um, it mostly looks like this energy swirl, and it's protecting you, sending you this protection, and it's also attempting to spin your chakras and to help cleanse your aura. It feels like this animal totem has been with you since you were really young, maybe even born. Um, so this animal has been with you for a really long time. So it feels like that's also an energy to call on. But in some ways, there's not a lot that needs to be done um, other than not really contacting this person anymore. If you can do that, um, and just not really, especially not frequently speaking to them or very often, but if you can, not at all. Um, it feels like that would break the connection in and of itself. And no karma really needs to be undone or created either. It feels like a simple disconnection would break the cords there, and it feels like that's easy to do. And then it feels like you could just work on clearing yourself, and I'm specifically seeing your back, down the spine. This is an area where people tend to hold cords, and that's the area that they're especially showing me. I'm also feeling your wrists for some reason. Something with the wrists. And that almost feels like a symbolic type of thing that was happening in your energy field, where you almost feel tied down, or like you can't move, or like you are held in a certain position or a certain place. And so it kind of makes me think of like ropes around the wrists, but it's not ropes, but it is cords. And it's just coming from that vibration, that type of energy. And so it ended up just manifesting there. It ended up going there because that's a place that can be symbolic of that type of feeling. Even the throat as well, same type of thing. If something is clamped around your throat. So these are the only places where a kind of rope could really go. And these are the places where you also have some cords. I don't really know why it's coming in like that, coming in like ropes. I don't really feel like that has anything to do with the past life. It more has to do with something kind of symbolic that manifested later. And then the back. So you can focus on clearing these areas. And then another way to cleanse yourself um, that they're showing me, another quick way to cleanse yourself that you can do like even once a week or something, they're saying. It wouldn't need to be more than that, or even once a month or something. If you resonated with it, it's a suggestion, or even one time, whatever you want to do, or try it, see if it works, whatever. But just taking a piece of paper, writing your name on it, or if you're okay at drawing, you can even draw something that you feel is representative of yourself. But probably the easiest way is just write your name, and then you just take salt. Um, Not really table salt, but like a fine salt, like sea salt or Himalayan salt, the good salt, and then just start sprinkling it all of the paper, all over your name, and think of what you want to be cleansing as you're doing that. And that's a really quick way, it's a really quick exercise to remove toxic energies from your field. And there again, that's just something that is symbolic. Okay, so our time is up, slightly over. So thank you very much, the child, once again for allowing me to do another reading for you. And I truly hope that it benefits you. Namaste.